Dr. Emeka Okorocha is in the house with all of your health woes to be answered. Very good morning to you.
Good morning to you guys too.
Yeah, we're going to talk about tinnitus or something like tinnitus.
Yeah.
This is a question from Mark. And he says, I have a ringing in my left ear. I've had it for about a week. It's not too long. What could it be? How can I get rid of it?
Okay, so yes, you're right. So a week's not very long. And what it could be, like you mentioned, it probably could be tinnitus. As an A&E doctor, what would worry me is kind of what's brought it on. Has there been any head injury? Have you lost your sense of hearing as well? This is stuff where I'd be like, go straight to A&E. However, for a week, I say if you see your GP, what they're going to do is they're going to look at your inner ear and see if they can find any causes, such as buildup of earwax or any infection in the ear, and probably take some blood tests. That could give them a better idea of what it is.
Yeah.
If it is tinnitus, in terms of getting rid of it, it's mainly conservative treatments, such as obviously avoiding stress and triggers, such as loud noises for tinnitus. Also, anxiety medication generally helps tinnitus too, but it depends on the primary cause.
So anxiety medication, meaning it literally calms you down, does it?
Yeah, it literally calms you down. So a lot of people think of tinnitus, and the more you think about it, the worse the sound gets. So tinnitus is basically yourself hearing the sound in one ear or both ears, which isn't external. So it's coming from inside your head. This could be a ringing, a humming, or a wishing. And basically, because of that, when you look at the treatments, there are certain causes, such as even diabetes can cause tinnitus. But when you rule out the primary causes of tinnitus and what we call idiopathic tinnitus, whereas there's no actual medical cause, that's when stuff like cognitive behavioral therapy and anxiety calming down and stress, reducing stress can actually help.
See, I get tinnitus periodically. So sometimes I have it and sometimes I don't. I could be going to sleep and I'll be like, oh, I've got tinnitus because I can hear.
Common.
Right, so what's that?
So it's the same. So a lot of people can get tinnitus and it could be constant or it can come in waves. I suggest seeing the GP when it's getting worse and worse and worse, or it's impacting your life. So basically, it's making you stressed, you can't sleep, you can't get on with your day job. That's when you may need some investigation. But I say come to me in A&E when your tinnitus has been sudden after something like a head injury or you've lost your hearing as well.
Well, Isabel and I come to each other. We sit and have medical consultations.
And diagnose each other.
There's certain things we have in common. We both have twitchy...
The number of times I'll say to Eamon, my eye's twitching.
And then my eye starts twitching out of sympathy.
Your eyes started twitching inside the actual pupil.
My eyeballs.
And then we thought, is that blood pressure? Genuine question.
So I've actually had a similar sensation.
Here we go.
I actually saw the eye twitching. It'd be hard to say what it is. However, did you have any pain or loss of vision with the eye twitching?
No. Isabel and I just sit there and then our eyes just go boop.
Okay, but your vision wasn't affected and there wasn't pain?
No.
Okay. Then I wouldn't be too worried.
No, don't be too worried.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too worried. You're probably just winking at each other.
Camera.
I wouldn't be too worried.
we just have twitches. Anyway, what else have you got?
Rachel, yes. Rachel.
I have that as well.
Don't worry.
In my right. Not me. Rachel says, stop twitching. Are you winking at me? What are you doing?
She is. I saw her do it.
It's like a come on. It's like,
I saw her do it.
Rachel says, I have constant pins and needles in my right ankle.
Oh, you have this too. Have you written all these questions?
I know what does mine. Sitting on these stools, it cuts off
I don't even know if you are sitting on them.
When it comes to pins and needles and aches and pains, especially in the legs, this is very common. And this could be from overusage, overusage and trauma, as you know, or this can be something called restless leg syndrome, which is very, very common. And this can cause cramping and pain and aching, like the legs, the calves, the feet, and the ankles. And
these are people, I know people who they go to bed and their legs
jump. So you have the urge and you have the inability to control the legs. And often this happens late at night or in the evenings. And this can be caused by a number of different causes. So once again, it can be medical. There can be medical causes related to restless leg syndrome. So you need to see your GP who will do a blood test and rule out stuff like possibly anemia or an imbalance of the chemical dopamine for the restless leg syndrome. And then after ruling out those causes, what it is, they'd see the severity and how bad it's affecting you. And based on that, they'd either treat you with conservative management or go on to medical management. So conservative management could be stuff like hot and cold compress, massaging the leg, putting it in some warm water, because this can often help. Or, in fact, improving your sleep pattern. So having a regular sleep pattern as well and making sure it's consistent throughout the day can help restless leg syndrome.
We're doomed. Well, I had restless leg syndrome when I was pregnant, and I've really had a new sympathy for people with it. Every evening I was kicking and twitching.
It's actually been known to be more common in pregnant ladies when they go through that, and people in their 30s, 40s and 50s as well. So yeah, I think there's a psychological component to restless leg syndrome. A lot of the time when we investigate it, it's not often medical. When it's medical, we can treat it medically, but normally conservative management often gets rid of it.
Okay.
Richard says, I have a constant feeling of being lethargic. A lot of people identify with this. Richard said he's 53 years of age. He says, is it related to my age, or is there something I could do that could give me a burst of energy? He says he does walk, but that's the only exercise he does.
So for Richard, I'd say 53 for us, especially medicine, isn't exactly old. So I wouldn't say, oh, just put it down to my age that I'm feeling lethargic. So when it comes down to him and being 53, what I'd suggest is make sure he does go and see his GP and book an appointment, because they will run through tests. And you want to make sure that you can exclude the sinister causes of chronic lethargy. So they want to look at his bloods, see if there's any balances of his electrolytes, see if he potentially has anemia, and then look for, obviously we don't want to go into C word, but possibly malignant causes as well. So because if they can exclude that, then they go straight onto conservative methods. So one, see how much is he exercising. Can he add riding a bike to that? Can he add swimming as well to that? Yeah. And then once again, then go look at his sleep, go look at his work-life balance and see, is it caused by that?
I automatically think diet. The amount of times my energy levels are affected by what I've eaten or drunk.
So,
too much carbs.
Like I said before,
too many carbs, too much alcohol.
Like I said before, how important 5 a day is and getting your natural sugars. For me, that boosts my energy. However, there's some stuff that can suppress your energy too, such as obviously alcohol and sometimes chronic smoking, if you have a stressful day at work. All of this stuff are lifestyle factors that we can change that you necessarily don't actually need a doctor for.